Hi, I'm Sleepy, and you're just in time to hear my plan for a redesigned SHEIK and Zelda. I would have put them both in one video, but I split them into two parts in respect to their distinct design philosophies, as well as the fact that the movesets are kinda long and I was running out of time. But according to the weird roster order, SHEIK goes first. Here's a trendy character that was only put in because of hype. Ocarina of Time was the biggest game around at the time, so they wanted SHEIK to join in Melee. However, SHEIK became just a one-off character in the Zelda games, and so the inclusion hasn't aged as gracefully as Zelda. SHEIK didn't even do very much in Ocarina of Time either. She just played a harp and taught Link songs. But she doesn't even do that in Smash, so we have a moveset that ended up being almost entirely made up. Instead of having a design philosophy that follows the source material, her design philosophy is just being really good, which I don't entirely hate. Smash absolutely needs more no-nonsense top tiers that are flashy and hard to play. It's more than possible to add more songs from Ocarina of Time into her moveset, and while it's true that doing that would objectively represent her character more accurately, we would also lose SHEIK entirely. I really like her design in Hyrule Warriors, but translating that into Smash wouldn't work as well. The harp creates space and sets up traps that can clear lots of enemies, but that isn't what SHEIK should play like at all in Smash. His specialty is frame data, but using the harp takes time. Sacrificing speed for range or power or something else would have massive repercussions. It's in direct conflict with his design, so no matter which move you replace, it'll end up being dead weight that doesn't complement SHEIK's game plan as well as before. However, I do want to make SHEIK more accurate to his appearance in Zelda, so we'll keep exploring aspects of their character that don't mess up what we've already got. Before we discuss anything important, I wanted to return to an aspect of SHEIK that's been lost. It was pretty much the deciding factor for getting added into the game at first. So, spoiler warning for Ocarina of Time for a second, okay? It's gonna blow your mind, so just go beat that game real quick, and then play Melee, and then come back here. Don't worry, I can wait. So basically, Aerith dies, but seriously, the thing SHEIK is most well known for is being Zelda's alter ego. I do kinda miss when SHEIK could switch to Zelda mid-battle. However, thanks to them no longer sharing a down B, they've become way more powerful separately than they ever were together. It's pretty impressive considering that SHEIK doesn't even exist without Zelda. It would be like if Zelda's Phantom got its own character slot. But it turns out SHEIK's moveset is fun enough to stand alone, even if it does kind of abandon what SHEIK was in the first place. Nah, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't really satisfied with that answer, and I still wanted a way to transform between SHEIK and Zelda. But like I said, both of them have gained their own identities, and improved thanks to down B. So, if they have a way to transform, I decided it shouldn't be down B. I respect the decision to let the two form their own identities. And then I started thinking about it in an interesting way. What if I kept the original spirit of SHEIK being a disguise, and their ability to transform was a secret? Even though SHEIK's identity has been spoiled 100 million times, at first it was a well-hidden plot twist that actually surprised players. And similarly, I thought it would be neat if SHEIK's connection to Zelda and Smash was hidden and mysterious. So unlike before, transformation is less like an important part of your battle strategy, and more like a cool Easter egg. It's difficult and situational to switch to Zelda. Activating it is a cryptic puzzle that I doubt anyone would find on purpose. You have to do a side taunt while no one is looking at you. You wouldn't want them to know your identity, would you? You can do it while they're looking the other way, or while they're in hit stun. But even still, it's not a good idea because it has the long transformation animation from Melee. All in all, you will rarely get to switch characters in a serious match, and that's how it should be. They were designed completely separately and don't rely on each other for combat anymore. But I still think it would be nice to honor their connection, even if it doesn't have much impact on the average game. I also added in an aesthetic change that should change to the last change it ties in, okay? SHEIK's side taunt is the one that activates it, so it should be distinct. SHEIK's new side taunt now plays a couple notes from SHEIK's theme on her harp. SHEIK gets a mix of buffs and nerfs to her general attributes to make her feel faster. SHEIK's initial dash goes farther, SHEIK doesn't jump as high and also falls faster. Most importantly, SHEIK is slightly heavier. SHEIK's weight is one of her biggest issues, so this should help out a little bit. SHEIK is now tied with Fox and Falco in weight. We may be lagging behind just a bit at the start, but we can get back on track with grounded moves. Jab is frame 1, but rapid jab has more end lag. The first 2 hits of jab can be cancelled into any tilt. Forward tilt starts a trend that is shared now amongst all SHEIK's kicking moves. F-tilt, among other kicks, has higher base knockback and damage, which SHEIK needs, but decreased knockback growth so it doesn't actually kill any sooner. Along with a buff to knockback comes a slight nerf to their ability to combo in some situations. Returning to just F-tilt though, F-tilt has a bit more shield stun, but decreased hit stun. Put together, those are some odd changes. They don't really make any sense yet. It decreases SHEIK's combo potential, especially at Hypersense, but it'll make sense later. Against most characters, F-Tilt will launch them a bit too high, and at first the hit stun won't last long enough to get much out of it other than one fair. But at later percent, when the other combo starters begin sending slightly too far away, F-Tilt is still around the same strength as the start, so it sets up follow-ups more reliably and longer than any other combo starters. For down tilt, SHEIK pretty much steals Greninja's down tilt animation now. I'll think of something new for him later when we get to Greninja, but in the meantime, SHEIK has it. Down tilt has very low base knockback and good knockback growth. Down tilt has similar but opposite problems as F-Tilt. It's fast but has low hit stun. At low and mid percent, it can basically start anything, but as percent grows higher, it becomes less useful. It also kills eventually, but it's not the fastest way to close stocks. Up tilt is much stronger and sends at a lower angle, so it can start edge guards. Dash attack has heavily decreased base knockback and sends them straight up. Dash attack is a phenomenal combo starter now. F smash is more useful in neutral. F smash can be 1 or 2 hits depending on whether or not you press A twice. The first hit looks the same, but the second hit has a new animation. She does a small side flip and turns back to fall on you with a karate chop. It sends at a more vertical angle, so it kills later. It does have less hand lag than before though. Up smash is faster, and the sour spot sends straight up, so it becomes another good combo option. Down smash has higher damage and knockback. Down smash briefly lowers SHEIK's traction while active. It lets her slide forward while down smashing. F-throw has a new animation where SHEIK jabs the opponent a couple times quickly. F-throw has less knockback and end lag. SHEIK has melee down throw. Up throw looks kinda lame, so I thought instead she could toss you up with one hand and rapidly kick you with one leg before launching you. This can do more damage too. Back throw doubles down and becomes even weaker. It sends up now, so back throw true combos into back air at mid to high percent. We're breezing through so far. I want to keep that momentum up for aerials next. SHEIK has some of the best aerials in the game, so this should be brief. Nair has slightly higher knockback. Up air does more damage and knockback. SDI won't help much. Bear is slightly stronger. Down air is one of the most god-awful moves Sakurai has ever devised. It's clearly not useless, but I still have an irrational hatred of it nonetheless. Instead, SHEIK is given a buffed melee dare, so it does more damage and no longer stall and falls, but loses the landing hitbox. It can spike on the early hit, but the spike hitbox is only active for 1 frame and only covers her leg instead of her whole body. The rest of the move's duration sends people up. And like I said, it was brief, so we can immediately go into specials, which are actually very different. Especially Neutral B, which ties this whole moveset together quite nicely. Neutral B and Shield B. He doesn't transform into Zelda as a shield special, as I'm sure many people's gut reaction would have been. SHEIK doesn't necessarily have a dedicated shield special. Instead, the input is tied to her Neutral B, which is still Needles by the way. Needles do more damage and hit stun. They also charge slightly faster. Similar to Melee, you can't tap B to charge it. You have to hold B. This is done for comfort reasons. When charging Needles on a platform, pressing down makes you shield drop instead of spot dodge. Next is the start of a new aspect that really changes how you play with Needles. Fully charged Needles will go away after 15 seconds of not throwing them, so you'll have to keep track of them and recharge them often. When a set of Needles is fully charged, you can store the Needles away by pressing Shield and B. While in storage, they aren't immediately accessible, but they cannot despawn either. It's sorta pocketed away. Instead, when you store your Needles, then press B, you'll start charging up a new set of Needles instead of taking out the old ones. That means you can have 2 sets of fully charged Needles. That's all well and cool and kinda confusing, but why do you want 2 sets of Needles? And why do Needles need to disappear after 15 seconds? Well, pressing B again right after the first volley of Needles is thrown, you can throw another set of volleys as long as you've got some in storage. The second volley requires you to time it though. If you don't use the other set of Needles, SHEIK just throws them away and you have to recharge them. Wasteful. So, when used well, it's a really fast, really safe multi-hit projectile and combos into stuff. That's definitely good, but doesn't seem like a move that would limit SHEIK to a timer. Well, Needles affect more than just Neutral B. It has to do with the way SHEIK stores Needles after fully charging a set. SHEIK holds them in his hands and passively alters the properties of some moves. He holds the Needles between his fingers like Wolverine claws, which now gives him more damage and range on certain moves that use his hand. This mitigates SHEIK's other biggest flaw, lack of power and disjoints. The 2 charge levels correspond to each hand. A full set in one hand multiplies damage and knockback by 1.5. Another set does it again. So any move involving SHEIK's arms will do 2 times the damage and knockback with both claws active. The moves affected are Jab, Down Tilt, Dash Attack, F Smash, Up Smash, F Throw, and Fair. Some of them even have different launch angles. Generally, they get sent lower to steal stocks and edge guard. Down Tilt now semi-spikes. Dash Attack sends forward. F Smash sends at a harsh low angle. Up Smash's Sour Spot is stronger and semi-spikes like down tilt. The Sweet Spot kills stupid early, but it's actually easier to DI than before. It doesn't quite send forward like the others, but it is more forward. It's at a diagonal angle now. But make no mistake, even if it's easier to DI, it still kills easier. F-Throw has a lower knockback angle, and Forward Air sends people at the harsh melee angle, which is... yikes. Neutral B is definitely my favorite part about the new SHEIK. It's a flexible mechanic that's new and interesting, while also not being too gimmicky in my opinion. It simply adds more depth to the aspects of SHEIK that people like. Come on, Sakurai, at least consider it for a second.
No!
Alright, well, back to specials. Side B is a really bad move for SHEIK. It's not good, it's not fun, and it doesn't fit her playstyle at all. And the chain's really not that much better. So my immediate response was just to throw the whole thing away, even if I have to make something up. I strongly considered replacing it with this magic whirlpool spell that can be summoned from her harp, but I decided I wanted to see if I could salvage his vanilla Side B and turn it into something that does fit SHEIK's design. When thrown out, Side B can be cancelled by cutting the rope. It will get detached when you jump, attack, or shield. That gives it some much needed safety and already does it wonders for feeling more like a SHEIK move. If cancelled early, it won't explode right away and instead diffuse is delayed for 4 seconds. SHEIK can then go over and pick up the grenade as an item. As an item, it's a lot like Youngling's bomb mixed with Snake's grenade. That's cursed. That's not okay. What if I said it was a, how about... it's like Youngling's bomb, but it's as small as a grenade. Yeah, that's more palatable. The explosion itself will last longer and now hits multiple times, but doesn't have a windbox or any real kill power when thrown as an item. In contrast, when it's still attached to the rope, it was buffed to be much stronger. You can also pull back on the rope to bring the bomb closer, like a deadly yo-yo. After Side B explodes, it leaves behind a cloud of smoke for a second. A seemingly innocuous and standard thing for a bomb to do. However, in the hands of a ninja like SHEIK, even small advantages can be taken far. A SHEIK player could hide in the smoke and fire to occasionally surprise people by jumping out with down B. It's pretty gimmicky, but... okay? Does that make it any less fun to land? Up B is based on the many times SHEIK uses a Deku Nut in Ocarina of Time to escape, one of the few references in her moveset. Up B functions differently depending on ground or air. Aerial Up B is significantly faster now, but goes less distance. The visual effects are now yellow too. Using Up B on the ground sucks people in before disappearing. The Deku Nut explosion will stun them and makes them dizzy for a long period of time. SHEIK's reappearing windbox is bigger and stronger, but she loses the weak hitbox protecting her. She also travels much farther when Up B is started on the ground. Kinda like the way Little Mac's Up B works, but not an actual joke. Down B is almost perfect. On account of it being a kick though, it's slightly faster and stronger, notably having less end lag when bouncing off of someone as a quality of life buff. Final Smash is a massive improvement over the old ones. It's sleek and stylish now. To balance it, I decided to give it a slow meter charge rate. Her Final Smash isn't particularly strong, but she can combo into it way too easily, and if charged faster, she would become reliant on Final Smash to get every kill. And that basically does it for SHEIK. I ended up having a much more positive view of SHEIK's design than I expected. Having an accurate moveset is one of the most important aspects to me, but SHEIK is so solid that I can look past it. I didn't have time for Zelda today because I have a laundry list of complaints regarding her. So subscribe and stay tuned. Good night.